Okay, we are back. This article that we're going to talk about now from the New York Times on crime trends is fascinating. Fascinating. And I think if you gave this to most politicians in Chicago and most journalists, including the crime reporters, they may get some of this wrong. It's really, really fascinating. So here's the article, the title of the article. It's Why People Misperceive Crime Trends. Chicago is not the murder capital. This is written by in the New York Times. Fascinating. And if you're listening through a podcast, all the links shown, all the images shown, all the links, all the videos are all up on our site when the podcast version of this gets posted. So you can go to our site and find all of that information. So we are going to show a chart. Our first one is Chicago is not number one. Most readers thought Chicago ranked first in murders rate nationally in 2020. The correct answer, 7th, was selected by only 8% of our readers. That's right. Most people, 53% thought first, 31% thought third, 9% thought fifth, and 8% thought 7th. That's right. 8% got it right. All right, so that's one. And it was based on just about 59,000 responses from online readers. Just a smaller number of responses. Our second chart, a violent year, 1990. Fewer than half our readers correctly answered that the murder rate in 2020 was lower than in 1990, during an era when murder was peaking in the United States. That's right. Last year, was the U.S. murder rate higher or lower than it was in 1990, or was it about the same? 32% about the same. 28% higher. 40% lower. That's right. 40% thought it was lower or about the same. And this is on just over 65,000 responses. That's right. Murder rate was higher in 1990. Context, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you're not getting from your crime reporters. When they talk about violence and crime, you're not getting it. Last one. The U.S. murder rate, 1960 to 2020. Murders per 100,000 people include an estimated 2020 increase of 25%. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You see that little peak there in 2020. No doubt it went up. No denying it. It certainly did. Amid a pandemic, it went up all over the country, but still far, far, far lower than what we experienced in 1990. And 1980, by the way, and early 1970s. In fact, to get as low as we did, you have to go back to around 2000, and then, right, slightly bigger, and then you're going to 1965 to get as low as we are right now. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not happy with the rate now. Do I want it changed? Of course I want it to get better. But you cannot be reactionary with these things. When you're reactionary, you end up locking up hundreds, if not thousands, or tens of thousands of people for unbelievably long sentences, thinking it's helping when it almost has no impact on it. But that's what you get from the rhetoric of these people. Here's a quote that I have to read about that Pew chart, the last one we showed. A Pew Research report in 2016 found that voters are usually more likely to say crime is up than down, regardless of what official statistics show. For decades, Gallup has asked people whether they think there is more or less crime in the U.S. compared with the year before. The question has been asked almost yearly since 1996, 24 years, 25 years now, and every year, except for 2001, the public, usually by overwhelming margins, has said crime is increasing. Why? Because of media. The media reporting on crime and violence. That's why. It's lacking context. I remember when I was teaching at a rural school out in Joliet, Illinois, at a University of St. Francis, and I asked the people on the election day of Hillary Trump, or maybe the day after the election, I asked if someone wanted to talk about why they voted for Trump, because I figured some people did. One girl raised her hand and asked, and I said, "Can I ask you why?" And she's like, "Sure, because I want to return to law and order." Okay. I said, "Can I ask a follow-up?" She's like, "Sure." I asked her, "Can you tell me a safer time in America for women than right now?" The silence you're getting from there is the silence I got in class. She couldn't name one. But she was sure that we needed to return to law and order. She just had no idea how much violence there was now and how much violence there had been, or crime. She just fell prey to the rhetoric. And that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Corrupt, ugly, horrific politicians, media people, police officials will use crime and violence to manipulate you and manipulate the vote and their support for political reasons to their political ends all the time. There is no research that shows up locking more people up helps. There is no research that shows that having more cops prevents more violence. It doesn't. There's a great phrase I had from a police officer friend of mine, a scholar. He's gone all over the world consulting for the National Institute of Justice. And it's a great phrase. He says, it's not about how many officers you got, it's about what you do with them. Damn straight. You can't be a police supporter or the police and have any credibility when you say, well, we're having them try to solve too many problems. Okay, let's build up systems so they don't have to solve those problems. Oh, no, you can't take money away. Can't do that. You're a fraud. And then when you get to our police unions, we're going to get into a little bit, they're all frauds. They're frauds. It's about power and resources. Control over power and control over resources. So political hacks will always exploit stuff for political gain. And crime and violence has been exploited in Chicago and around the country for as long as there's been in Chicago and as long as there's been in America. They will always endlessly exploit it because it's easy. It's easy. The media helps them every day with their horrific reporting.